Welcome back to another episode of the Founders Table Podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Anthony Busciglio. This is the Founders Table Podcast with real founders having real conversations that you, the entrepreneurial-led organization, face on a day-to-day basis. This is going to be a fun episode.
All the war stories, baby.
This is the war.
I told one of my war stories last week.
Yeah, so this is War Stories Volume 2.
Well, I'm going to pass the war story. You're going to have one of your war stories now.
Well, I think we could just keep telling war stories, though. You know,
I love it.
We got lots of war stories. And so, what is a war story?
A war story is just like big time adversity that you had to fight through as a business, a situation that most people would think that they could not overcome, that you overcame to just push through and just fucking push through.
Yeah, dude. if there's something that we have that we're not short on, it's stories.
Yeah.
Most of which cannot be told here on the podcast.
Unfortunately, great fucking stories.
The second thing that we're not short on is war stories as a founder. So this is the Founders Table Podcast. So as we say, pull up a chair to the Founders Table, have a real conversation from real guys. I mean, between Anthony and I, we go back almost 20 years, but our entrepreneurial career, goes back, I think, collectively about 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so, we call these wisdom whiskers, war whiskers here, because, we've been weathered, we've been tried, we've been tested, and we have survived. And not only are we surviving, like, we're fucking thriving.
Thriving, but
yeah.
we've been down for the count many times.
Many times. So Anthony was sharing in the previous episode, the previous war stories, the rise and fall of the Empire State Building.
That's what that one should be called, the rise and fall of the Empire State
Building.
Building.
Yeah, the rise and fall of the Empire State Building, and about how he was down and out in his luck. He thought he caught a break. He moved all his operations to the Empire State Building, only to be booted out on his ass.
3 months later,
with like 3 days notice, right?
About a week's notice.
About a week's notice. Then had to go into another office that was gouging him, and then eventually ended up into where his New Jersey office is.
Eventually Hurricane Sandy wiped us
right.
the fuck out.
Hurricane Sandy.
Lost that whole shit.
Yeah, so if you guys missed it, Anthony's probably seriously one of the best storytellers on planet Earth. We know some shitty storytellers.
I know horrible storytellers.
Yeah. Dude,
one thing about the Empire State Building I forgot to mention, not that it's a war part, but dude, when you're up that high on 64th floor, the fucking windows like shake like you feel like there's an earthquake every fucking day.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that happened to me. I was in Vegas this weekend, speaking at a conference. I was doing a keynote. I was staying at the new Fontainebleau. That's the tallest building.
Yeah, it
now.
looks mint.
It's mint. We got to go. It's tremendous, as you would say. So I went there, and like there was a windstorm, and dude, I felt that very thing. The windows felt like they were gonna like implode on us.
That's how the Empire State Building it felt every single day.
So the Empire State Building didn't fall, but the business almost did. But because of this man's grit, because of this man's tenacity, because of his unwillingness to relent and say die, they have built an amazing organization here called APN Tech. You got to go check it out, apntech.io. If you're a small business owner, talk to these guys to help you get visibility and clarity on your business online and with Google search. There's your shameless plug.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So now war stories from the tales, not from the tales of the crypt, but from the tales of the Nick. I've had so many different war stories, but this one in particular, it was not funny in the moment, but dude, I love telling this one.
So is this media? Yeah,
this is my company, Media Mix. So, Anthony and I had a business together, very similar to the one that he has now. We went our separate ways because I went out of business as the West Coast representative, and then he went on to create this multiple 8-figure business that they have here today. And so I started out in very humble beginnings. My wife and I, as I said, we had 2 cell phones. We had $75,000 of debt, and we had a big ass why. And our why was we want to get married, we want to have kids, we want to travel the world, we want to have a world class, a first class wedding and a world class honeymoon, and we did all of those things. And we actually created you saw it.
Monster business.
Monster.
I hadn't seen Nick for like probably 3 or 4 years.
You guys came out for the ribbon cutting.
And then I came out for the ribbon cutting, and I walked in. I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? There was like over 100 people there. The office was beautiful, cranking. I was like, this is yours? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you own this. This is your company. And like it happened so fucking fast.
It did happen.
Massive. And the culture, and everybody was wearing black shirts and matching. Everybody was happy to work there. And it was just like, I was like, dude, I'm so proud of you. I couldn't believe it because 4 years before that, this fucking guy was in Guatemala dying. dying in Guatemala, running a call center down there to work off some fucking debt that some guy gave money for the business that didn't work out here that I was killing on the East Coast. That's what happened.
Kind of, yes. That's the abridged version of what happened. I was down in Guatemala. It's a long story. That'll be another war story. There's tales from Guatemala. I wasn't smuggling drugs, but these leads that I was slanging, they might as well have been drugs. We had people that were addicted to this lead flow that we created. So I basically, with my wife, we created this company that had got to a place that had 375 employees.
You had 2 floors.
Two floors in an A-class building here in Orange County, California. And we were doing about, 30 plus million a year in business. And so what happened is, and
this is not that. This is like 7 years ago.
No, so 2019 is when this story took place.
5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Yeah. So we built it from starting in 2012. We formed the company. We started transacting in 2013, and then we had massive accelerated growth throughout that process. So we were kicking ass. We were taking names. My wife and I were fucking. I mean, you saw we were living the good life.
Fucking guy sending pictures on Instagram. They're driving around like, what's that car in London? He bought like a fucking $5,000 outfit with the fucking with the Cupoline and
what's a Cupoline?
A little Italian fat. You know what I mean? A little.
Does it call it Cupoline?
It's a Cupoline, yeah.
It's like the little. Basically, what he's talking about is like
what do you call it? A fucking beret?
A baller cap.
A baller cap. It's a Cupoline.
Cupoline. And so anyway, we were. What he's talking about is we just got to do some cool shit. We got to a place where we could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah, you were living the life.
Yeah, we took a helicopter, off our ranch, our 80-acre ranch in Idaho. We landed on a tarmac, got on a private jet, flew, got on a first-class flight to Switzerland, and then we got in these vintage cars.
The vintage cars,
these vintage cars, Bugattis, Ferraris. Actually, there wasn't a Bugatti, but Jaguars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, all vintage, and we did this vintage car rally. And so my wife and I were living the life, dude. Like, it was great, and so everybody's probably thinking like, oh, boo-hoo, where's the war story? Well, it's coming. And and it was World War. Like it was the craziest thing. But I'm going to talk about one of the actual days that happened inside of one of my darkest days. And now it's actually one of my brightest days. I love telling this story. So what happened is we got to a place where we got so big, we got a big target on our back. And specifically with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, we did a lot of telemarketing. Okay. And I mean, you and I both been in telemarketing. How much red tape is in telemarketing?
It's like the most highly regulated industry.
Yeah. People don't think it is. Like,
you got to do everything fucking perfect. If you do one thing wrong, they find a way to just get you.
Yeah.
And bad.
And they can put you out of business.
They just cripple you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, but what people don't know, and I used to be embarrassed to admit this, but it's part of who I am, is, we commercialized robo-dialing. So press one marketing, like, those calls that you used to get that says, hello, your auto warranty is about to expire. Press one now to speak to an agent. That was us. And we made millions doing that.
2007,
2008, 2009, 2010. I actually sold out of that business back in 2010. But, the government changed the laws. They literally changed the laws after because of what we were doing. But they still kind of had that like target on my back, and they wanted a piece of this ass, not like the girls used to back in the day when I was single, like in the worst way. They wanted to like really punish me.
Yeah, Nick's famously known for one day blowing out all the phone lines in Texas. Literally blew out the phone lines in the whole state of Texas.
So the crazy thing is the governor right now that everybody's talking about, Greg Abbott.
Yeah.
The governor that he's basically telling Biden, like, I'm shutting down the border. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that. We won't get political, but Greg Abbott was the attorney general then, and little old 28, 29-year-old me had to fly to Texas, because that moment you're talking about, and sit in front of all these attorney generals in Austin, Texas, in the Capitol building, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "We're just selling leads, man." They're like, "I don't get it. How did you do this?" And so anyway, so I say all that to say that the government kind of had their eye out for me for a long time. And what we were doing at Media Mix was a completely legit company. In fact, we had publicly traded companies like, it was Solar City, but Solar City, Sunrun, it became Tesla, Angie's List, Home Advisor, Modernize. We had all of these publicly traded companies that were like doing business with us.
Purchasing leads from your floor, you're generating leads for them.
Yeah, and what kind of compliance do you think goes along with that?
Yeah, do not call list, this and that, everything.
But do you think they regulated us or didn't regulate us?
Yeah, of course.
Of course they did, right?
Highly.
So we had attorneys for attorneys. We had telecommunications attorneys, general counsel, liability attorneys. We had third party compliance companies. You know, our manual to actually like do calls and train people was about like this thick, man.
He was running a legit type operation.
And we were printing cash. So what happened is the FTC came in, and I'm going to get to the story, but the FTC came in and we welcomed them. We said, hey, come in, look around, have a look. You know, here's all our shit. Like we had nothing to hide, right? Most people have like these burn and churn addresses, and then they burn an LLC and build an LLC. We said, no, come on in, please come in. We had counsel already retained. We just said, let's go. Little did I know, man, that was a fight that I was not going to win. That was the fight I was not going to win. It was like putting handcuffs on and getting in the ring with Mike Tyson and Conor McGregor and saying, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. It didn't matter what we did. And we spent a lot of money fighting this, a lot of money just to prove that we did nothing wrong. And so like towards the tail end, like when it was like looking like we were going to lose badly, right? I had 375 employees. Like 375 souls. And I would say the vast majority of my employees were telemarketers. We never called them that, but that's essentially what they were. You know, so these people weren't like lighting the world on fire, like financially. You know, we paid them at the top, but still, like, you know, a lot of these people were living hand to mouth. And I was doing everything I fucking could to preserve these jobs. Like I knew I was going to be okay no matter how dark it got. But like, dude, can you imagine these people?
Yeah, I know. One of them works for me right now.
Yeah,
he's still asking for his last check.
Is that why he always looks at me funny when I come in here?
He fucking owes me my last check. Yeah.
Oh, man. I should tell him, get it from Anthony. He's got all the money now. Anyway, so, like, I was just doing everything I could, man. Like, and I was in a dark spot, like, looking at losing everything that me and my wife worked so hard. So, it's right before payroll. It's like the day of payroll. Right. And we've been battling this shit for a long time. I'm spending like hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars fighting this. And I'm looking at losing everything. Right. And so it's like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and my COO and my CFO at the time come in. And the gal who is my COO says, hey, you know, so-and-so needs to talk to you, meaning my CFO. Okay. So we're in my office. I've got this beautiful high-rise office. I've got, you know, like floor-to-ceiling glass in the office overlooking this beautiful fucking lake. I furnished this thing. It was mint. It was like my home away from home. And I'm leaning. When they walked in, I was kind of looking out the window, just kind of contemplating life. And then they come in and they got that look. You know that look?
Yeah. Like I'm out.
Well, just like, you know, something's wrong. Right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, my COO says, hey, you know, so-and-so has to tell you something. I said, what's that? And I looked at him and I said, and he looked down, you know, at his feet. I'm like, you're quitting. And he's like, yeah, I'm quitting. I was like, all right. I mean, I can understand that. Like you're quitting. Like when? Like how long I got? And he's like, oh no, I'm done. I already cut my final check. I just need you to sign. I said, wait, what? Like you quit already, and you cut your own final check, and now you're in here to tell me that you're leaving, like right now, like no 2 weeks, no 1 month, no 3 days, no nothing. You're just gonna walk out of here right now with your final check.
The guy who runs the entire operation
Financially.
CFO.
Yeah, CFO runs the entire check financially, so that's why he cut his own check and just needed me to sign it.
Yeah, thanks.
And then I go. Tell me payroll's done. And he looks back down at his feet. I said, payroll's not done?
Wow.
375 people. And payroll is not done? And he's like, I can't. I said, no, you can. You're choosing not to. Like, but let me get this straight. You got your check?
Yeah, but you got your check.
You got your check? And obviously, like, you know, this is being a CEO. Like I have an obligation to sign that check.
Of course.
It's like and he knows that, right? So he's like leveraging me in the most vulnerable, painful time of my life.
Wow.
And I go, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be kidding me. Like you're gonna walk out now? I go, what am I gonna do? And I'm looking at the COO, and she's, you know, practically in tears because she knows that like we're kind of just back up against the wall here. And I said, fuck. And I said something like, fuck, man, fuck me. And he's like, I know. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
What a jerk off.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
He says, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
That's a real jerk off
And
comment.
I said, what? I go, dude, are you serious? So, dude, I kick off my shoes. Like, I kick them off, right? So he's across the office, and I'm standing on the other side of the office. I kick off my shoes, and I take them, and I throw my shoe at him. I go, you want to be in my shoes? I go, here's my shoes. Here's my other shoe. I go, you know what? Pick those up and walk 1 fucking mile in them. I dare you. I dare you to pick those shoes up and walk 1 mile. You wouldn't want to be in my shoes? I don't want to be in my shoes. But guess what? Like, I'm in my shoes and you just poured cement on them with your comment. And he goes, oh, yeah, I guess that comment was kind of untimely. I go, your fucking resignation is untimely. The comment was completely asinine.
I never heard this before, by the way.
I go, completely asinine. I go, are you kidding me? I go, give me that check. And I signed it, like, almost to, like, rip through the paper. I go, you know what? Like, take this fucking blood money, dude. And I put it on his chest, and I fucking, like, you know, I can't really punch the guy. I wanted to. And I go, get the fuck out of here, dude. Literally, get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
I said, last I checked, I hired you, not the other way around. I'm going to figure this shit out. This is the worst mistake I ever made. And I had a fucking gut feeling about this guy.
That's how it always happens. You're always 2 weeks too late.
I know. I knew it. No,
Always.
No, but I knew it like he worked for us for a while. And at first he was fabulous. And then, like, you know, just kind of like you start getting that spidey sense. And then it was like this little fucking coup. And I was like, man, like, I can't believe it. And so this dude left me fucking hanging with 375 sold.
Who the fuck did payroll? And we're back.
And we're back. We had some technical difficulties. So anyways, there I am in my office.
No shoes on.
No shoes on. I threw the shoe at the CFO, both shoes, and I said, walk a mile in those shoes. Because a guy like that has never walked a mile in our shoes.
Never.
Never walked and never could ever dream of walking of 10 feet in shoes like ours. Like, see, everybody, like, when you get to that place and you're making money, they're like, oh, you know, you got lucky. I'm like, dude, you didn't see the dark days. You didn't see, like, when we couldn't make payroll. You didn't see when I transferred money in to pay your payroll. And now you're gonna leave me in the darkest of hour when I've been there, like, throughout everything. Dude, it was the craziest experience of my entire life. Actually, I'm still friends with the COO. No, you know her. She's a good gal.
Yeah.
And we laugh about it all the time. We laugh about it all the time. She's like, that was one of the most surreal moments of my life. He says, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. And you immediately, like a Hispanic mother, kicked off your shoe and hucked it across the room at him, you know, and hit him right in the chest. Dude, the best was the shoe, like, bounced off his chest, and then, like, he should have known it was coming. I picked up the other one. He kind of flinched and, like, hit him in the shoulder. And I was like, there's my shoes.
Was he older guy or younger guy?
Older than me at the time. He might have been, like, my age now. You know, I think I was, like, 38, 39. I was 39. So he was probably 45, something like that. All right, so the guy was around 45 years old, you know. I don't know if he ever had his own business, but that's the thing is, like, guys like that, gals like that, it's just it's a certain type of human being. They're victims, you know, and like, can you imagine the audacity? Like, this guy knows that there's 375 people that need to get paid. And he knows that I'm completely useless when it comes to that, other than making the money. I have no idea. It has been years since I had to do any of this, right? We had systems and processes, and
I wouldn't know what to do right now to run payroll for these 90 people.
Because we built ourselves out of a job, right?
Yeah.
And so, dude, we stayed up all night. We didn't even know how to, like, 100% figure out the taxes. We were making these manual calculations, and then, you know, like, we couldn't even process it through ADP or whatever the hell our system was, because we didn't have any of the logins. We had nothing, and the people were expecting to get paid the next day. And meanwhile, I don't even know if I'm going to get paid. I don't even know if I'm going to have any money at the end of this.
And guarantee you half of their checks were fucked up anyway.
Well, yeah.
At least you gave them a check.
Well, and so, yeah, we manually paid them. We manually sent in the payroll tax. And I'm sure we actually probably, like, paid too much, you know, across the board, because I didn't know. I didn't want the liability. And then, like, in a sheer move of desperation. Now, keep in mind, I turned down tens of millions of dollars prior to this.
I know.
Right?
It hurts every time you say that.
I know. It's all right. But that's why we're here. We're still here to have these conversations, right? So I turned down like tens of millions of dollars. And then like a lot of people like, this guy's working for you, right? Maybe I don't think he said he still owes me money, but maybe he did. I do get hate.
A couple times.
But
he doesn't hit you.
I do get hate online,
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're doing so well now. Pay me my last check. And what people don't know is I sold that fucking business. I had 14 days. 14 days to sell that
I don't know
business.
how you even did that.
Dude, it was a miracle. I threw up a Hail Mary in the freaking end zone. and I actually made sure that everybody got paid for the foreseeable future. It wasn't my fault that the people that took it over didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They're the ones that stiffed them.
Ran that into the ground so fast.
Yeah, I think they were from your neighborhood back in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah. I remember I met the guy. Remember at Mastro's I walked in?
Yeah.
Guy had a big fucking gold chain on. He's fucking screaming, drinking. He said something. I didn't want to say what he said, but he said something.
Yeah, he's all juiced up, right?
I could say what he said. I don't care. So I walk in, right? I happen to be at Mastro's having dinner, and Nick happens to be there with the acquirers of the business, and they're ready to close on him. Like, yo, what's up? It's like, dude, these guys are buying the business. The deal goes down tomorrow. You got to meet these guys. There's this big fucking meathead with a big gold chain on, and he's like, bah, 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 bah. I'm like, I'll come meet you guys at the bar for a drink afterwards. So these guys are getting tuned up.
They're slamming martinis.
They're getting tuned up at the bar.
They're drinking water on a marathon, man.
So we're done eating dinner. I go to the bar. I look, hey, what's up, buddy? Guy goes, I got a cock this big. He goes, he just yells out in the middle of the restaurant at fucking Mastro's at the bar. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, these guys are going to buy the business. This business is done. I give it fucking 3 weeks. And how long did it last?
It lasted about 4 months, 5 months.
4 months, 5 months.
4 or 5 months. I think it was July, and then they went out of business like October, November.
But then when you went out of business, you still owned all the furniture?
So they just left.
They just left. So this is the worst part, right?
They just left.
So they left.
They abandoned everybody.
And then I had just moved here.
Yeah.
I just moved. I had been here for like 6 months in Orange County, and I just got this new office space, and I needed furniture. So I was on the phone with Nick. He's like, dude, go buy all my shit. I'm like, buy your shit? He's like, yeah, I got chairs. I got everything. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, I don't give a fuck. Just give me whatever for it. And I'm like, I feel bad. And I'm like, this is like your business, your baby that you closed down, and I'm going to go now wheel out fucking chairs.
Dude,
He's like, I don't fucking care. And I'm like, so me and like my partners, we go to Nick's office that's shut down now, and we're like, I give you like $20 a chair. He's like, I don't give a fuck. And now we're like rolling all the fucking chairs out of the company that closed down.
Into the elevator?
In the up and down the fucking elevator. So every chair in our office right now is from fucking Media Mix, from Nick's old company.
Why do you think this place is doing so well?
Yeah.
It's got my
got
energy.
the good luck.
It's got my energy, yeah. No, you're right. Like so it was crazy. Like it went down, and it went down quick. And like, people don't hear that. People don't hear like what happens to founders behind closed doors.
No.
Like that's why we have an open forum conversation in and around real topics that founders face, because like we have walked a mile in your shoes. Like we know what it's like to not pay payroll, or actually we've never missed payroll, but to look at your bills and then look at payroll. Which one do you choose?
Payroll.
Every time.
All the time.
Every time.
Never fuck with the employees' checks.
Right.
Ever.
You can't.
Never. You always put them first. How many times I haven't taken a check? Sometimes it was like almost a whole year straight of not taking a fucking check to make sure they got paid.
I went 2.5 years.
Yeah. That's what comes with the territory of being a business owner.
What people don't realize is I had like a profitable business. Like actually my life was pretty simple when me and my wife got back together. We were brokering data, brokering leads. Like we were loving life, happy hour all the time. And then we bought a business, right? We'll talk about that on another episode, but we bought a business and to supercharge it. But I was using all the profit from my data company to like pay payroll. And I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Not putting yourself first.
Well, so I went from making great money to employing a bunch of people, not only not making money, but now like taking the money I was otherwise getting and putting it in. And then this motherfucker wants to come in the 9th hour and say, oh, I'm out of here. Can you sign my final check? Dude, do you ever see the movie Running Man?
Love that movie.
You remember when
Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, remember he signs the contract on the guy's back?
Yeah.
What does he do? He jams the pen into the guy's back.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that so bad. I wanted to take the freaking check and just nail it to his shoulder.
Where's this guy live?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is he still in Orange County?
I heard some not surprising things about him. and his unscrupulous nature.
He's a pedophile.
I don't know about that, but
You sounded like you were going to say that.
no, I was going to be more like a fraud. But
Oh, okay.
we see where you're devious.
I went all the
at.
way.
Yeah, you went.
I went dark. You said it was dark times.
You went hard into the paint
Shit.
on that one.
All right, I was wrong.
But anyway, that's my war story.
All right, good. I got another good story for next week.
You do?
Let's go.
You got another good one?
Oh, I got a great
All right, well, we got to keep you tuned. If you want to keep coming back and hearing both war stories and ones of heroic valor, like you got to keep tuning in to the Founders Table podcast. As you can see, these are real founders having real conversations about the things that you face and the things that we probably already overcome. So pull up a chair and get ready for some more war stories next week on the Founders Table. This is Anthony Busciglio. I'm Nick Long. We're out.
So long.
Farewell. Alvidas and to you.